So the market's made some adjustments. We're in a higher interest rate environment. And the question is, what are you doing differently to get buyers off the fence and ultimately get your offers accepted and move people forward? Let's talk confidence and conversion with the man, Byron Lazine, the one team at William Ravis. Byron, how are you, man?
Doing great. This is awesome.
So you're inside the office and I'm like, we got to do a show.
Yeah.
And I said to you, hey man, can you talk about what you say to your agents to get them? And you're like, I just did this yesterday with one of my agents.
Just did it. Yeah.
So help us unpack. What are some of the tactics, the things that you're asking your agents to say and do that are getting uncertain buyers off the fence?
Well, the agents that are going to win in this environment are the ones that start with actually taking a step back and asking really specific questions.
Yes.
Right? There's so many agents out there that are just like, I got to get to the finish line. I got to get to the offer standpoint so I can close close a deal, get a commission check. Starts with the questions you're asking the buyer. Right?
Yep.
So why are you buying a house right now?
Mm-hmm.
How long do you envision being in this home?
Yeah.
Because if a buyer says, well, probably 12 months, then we're probably talking about you're renting, right? You're not buying for 12 months in this environment with this much uncertainty.
Right.
But when you actually get the buyer to say, okay, well, I'm going to be here for the next 10 years. I'm likely going to be here 10, maybe 15, right?
Mm-hmm.
The average is actually over 10 years in this country.
Right.
People don't realize that.
Yes.
They think it's like 5 or 6 or 7 years. It's actually over 10 years.
Yep.
And most people, when they really think about it, they're going to be in that home for 10 years or so. Or at least their mindset is in that direction, right? So
if you're asking these questions, is this like a modified version or another variation of a buyer consultation?
Yeah, but I mean, if you get a lead online and they just want to see homes, the buyer is like, I just want to see homes, I want to see homes. They don't know that they should be confiding in you. You've got to educate them as the professional.
You got to build rapport, gain some trust, get some likability before they're going to open up that way.
And you're going to build trust by asking the right questions. You're going to build trust by showing them that you're in this journey with them, that you're a real pro, right?
Yeah.
And once you unlock that, okay, this buyer is going to be there for 10 years. They're not a flipper. They're not an investor. They are a home buyer. They're looking for their home. Then you can have the conversation about from 1965 until today, home values, do they go in a straight line up to the right? Are they flat or are they going down?
Yeah.
Without even showing them the KCM chart or whatever other chart you want to use, that buyer can take a pretty strong guess that, okay, it goes up and to the right, right? So if you're listening to this, you know what I'm talking about. That diagonal line that everybody has seen where home values continue to appreciate over the long term. Show them that chart. If you're standing in front of them in the driveway doing the buyer consult, just do what I just did here. Just draw the line with your finger up and to the right. And what do you think is going to happen over the next 10 years? Right? It may go down at some point, but you're not a seller. You are living in your home. So we're going to wait and just let that thing continue to appreciate. And so now it comes down to, do you want to be a homeowner or do you want to be a renter, right?
So I want to back up for a second because this language is spot on. And again, we are aligned in that it's always about being the educator. It's being the person that can look at me and say, I'm not attached to you guys buying a house or not, but let me show you the facts. Here's what the data says. You guys are now empowered. You guys decide. But where is that happening in the process? Is that, hey, I just called in on your ad. Hey, I just saw this home. Hey, I was just referred to you. I'd like to see this property. When does that education process begin?
Yeah, if you start asking somebody a question on the first phone call when they're calling about seeing a home, there's going to be a huge disconnect.
Thank you. Okay, I just want to clarify.
You're definitely not going to convert that lead. And that's all that call is a lead. It's an opportunity for you to build rapport, show them that you're a professional, and decide if both parties are fit to work together. Once you meet that person, we talk about the first freebie, right? Get them into a property. They're calling on a property, so deliver on that promise, right? Get them into a home. Then you start to ask them questions, right? You don't, right when they walk in, start hammering with questions. People do that at open houses all the time. I visit open houses in Southwest Florida just to visit them. And I will walk into homes and people will say, do you have an agent? Hello? Hello?
Hi, my name is Byron. What's your name?
Right? Like, build some rapport. You can have that buyer consult actually after the first showing in the driveway. And it comes down to like having a real conversation with people, like as if you were at a cocktail party, as if you were trying to start a conversation with somebody in a coffee shop. You're not going to go up for the kill. you're going to get into the conversation and start to talk to them.
So you started with, we're sitting in the car, I'm sitting outside the car, they're in the car, and I'm like, Byron, let me ask you a couple of questions. Tell me what's important to you. You started first with a why question, and oftentimes why questions can feel like conflict.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're trying to get somebody to justify their position.
That's right.
So tell me why you start with why, or do you start with why and you were just rattling off questions?
Yeah, you're not just going to walk up to somebody and be like, why are you buying a house, right? But they're going to start to open up throughout this would be a great room for this. This would be, Yes. So, is this a school decision? Is this start to ask questions about the community.
What's important? Yeah. What are you guys looking for? What are your non-negotiables?
Right. What's it look like when you're in the house? Yeah. And you start to build that vision, and then you can get down to why they're ultimately buying a house. And some will come out right out and say it.
Right.
We have a job relocation, whatever. And then ultimately like they have to buy, right?
Yes.
But you've got to get down to why, because when it gets hard in this market, when you're competing with multiple offers, when interest rates are seemingly going up every single day, it's getting more expensive. You've got to center back to why. This is if we're going to be in the house for 10 years, we know we're going to have home appreciation, and you've got to calm their fears with that data.
So let's flip to, I've written 5 offers. I've lost all 5.
Yeah.
When I started writing offers, interest rates were in the 3s. Now they're 5.25. I am frustrated. I'm a little crispy, and you're trying to reinvigorate me.
Yeah.
What's the process there? What's the play that you're asking your teammates to use there?
I'm still going back to the real reason we're buying, right? And I'm gonna continue to show them data. I saw something headline today that says, "Don't talk about the trouble, the housing bubble." No, talk about.
I saw that too.
Talk about everything. Yeah. Right? Give them the data.
Don't hide from the truth.
Don't hide from the truth. Give them the relevant data and show them. I love to just pull up the MLS and say, I know no agents showing you this because they think it's like a secret society, this thing called the MLS. Yeah. Let's just open it up together. I'll give you my password if it makes you feel more comfortable. Right. And I'll show you the real data. Okay, here's how many new listings in the last 7 days. And by the way, the last couple of weeks, they've outpaced pendings in this particular market, right? And show them that every single day, more homes come on the market. Every single day is another opportunity. It's getting more expensive, yes. Yep. But if we quit and wait for another month, 2 months, it's only going to be more expensive. Right. Every day that you're a renter and not a homeowner, it's very expensive for your long-term wealth. Yep. So we've just got to stay patient.
So what about, it's interesting going back to that, I think about the show I did with KCM, myself, and David Childers talking about historical data around home price appreciation during a high inflation environment. Yeah. Home prices go up. Of course. Transactions could drop, right? Especially because of interest rates. But we're talking about, when we looked back, I think over the 40 years, it was like, 3% transaction drop was the average, minus an environment like 2007, 8, 9, 10, right? Where it was, catastrophic. So back on this point with interest rates, do you find it advantageous? Do you recommend that agents get informed about ARMs, about interest-only product? Because we're seeing all that stuff, rush back inside the marketplace. What's your take there?
Yeah, during the great financial crisis, 2 out of 5 loans were an ARM. Right. But they were like ninja ARMs. Right. So they were really bad loans for a lot of people. Bad product.
Do you think the banks have learned the lesson?
I do. And right now, you have less than 1% of all loans are an ARM. Because why in the world over the last 5+ years would you get an ARM? Yeah. Adjustable rate mortgage. You wouldn't do it. Yep. It's starting to come back. The lenders that are really educated are starting to talk about it, educate their agents so they can educate their clients. I think for the right person in the right situation, it's a good product right now. Because long term, do we really believe, even if rates go up to, say, 7%, which sounds crazy, but it could happen.
Absolutely.
Do we really believe that they're not going to come down eventually? I think they will.
They always do.
They always do, right? So an adjustable rate mortgage could make sense for I don't know that it's necessarily the right thing for the first-time home buyer who's locking in for 30 years, going to be there for 10. Right. Might not be the best product for them, but for the right buyer, it could be.
It was interesting chatting with one of our clients yesterday, and he was saying he had just bought a place, and he said, look, I did it on a 5-year ARM. He said, this is not my forever home. Yeah. He said, but I was able to get a cap on the adjustable rate. So he got it at like 2 and change, and the cap was 2 basis points higher, like 2 more points higher. So he's like, so I'm still better than the 5.25, but this is not my forever home. Right. Like that was his mindset. So as you're listening to this, I just want to be mindful. I think when you start getting into an agent talking about finance, I think that's super important, right? And you've got a fiduciary responsibility to make sure you are well informed, well educated. And I'm recommending to all the great teams, this is the moment where you bring in your loan officer, maybe 2 or 3, and say, speak about the product, speak about the up, the down, the worry, like make sure that agents are super well informed. So they're not just saying, oh my God, I can get you a better rate, I can get you a better price, but really being the educator.
And do you want to work with an agent that says every single question you have about finance, talk to the lender, talk to the lender, or do you want to add some value and then say, let's verify this with a lender or 2 or 3?
Yep.
At least add some color to that conversation as opposed to talk to the inspector, talk to the lender. I'm just here to point you in directions other than me, right? Yeah. Nobody needs a paper pusher and a door opener, and nobody needs that person that's shedding all of the responsibility to everybody else.
No. So I want to wrap at this point. You know, a lot of people are chattering about, oh my God, the market's slowing down. And I think the best headline I've read so far was from the guys at 1000 Watt that said it's gone from white hot to just red hot. Yeah. Right? I mean, literally yesterday with Maxine Gellens on a coaching session, right? I mean, here's a veteran of like 48 years. She's like, Tom, when a nice home comes on the market, it's sold in a day. It doesn't matter what price point it is. On the coast, $15, $20 million, someplace in San Diego, a condo for $800, whatever. If it's a nice place, it's gone in 2 seconds. If it's a reasonable place, it's gone in like 7 days. Yeah. She's like, it used to be maybe 1 day, but because when we watched like last October, November, December, January, when all the old product literally was just burned off because there was no other inventory. Yep. I think that's normal now. So if this is the new norm, what would you argue is it buyer consultation? Is it building rapport? Is it being the educator? What are the most important skills someone's got to have now?
As an agent?
Yeah.
When you say buyer consult, I don't think a lot of consumers actually want to do that.
Tell me why.
It just sounds like work.
Yeah.
Hey, come in and have a buyer consultation with me. Yeah, no.
Well, the way you say it like that,
sure. No, thanks. No, thanks. So
yeah, come in and let's first weigh you, and then
right. How about a investment strategy conversation?
Oh, I like that.
How about a real estate investment wine tasting in the office seminar? That kind of stuff where it's like, okay, that sounds interesting enough for me to spend an hour of my life and show up. You're going to have good wine. And we're talking about investing as opposed to you consulting me on my home buying. Yeah. Like everybody actually, when they hear that, I know where to find homes, right? I know the 2 or 3 websites that I'm looking at homes. Right. And so they already think that, well, what's the agent doing, right? So if you come in and show them another strategy, another angle about how to grow their money. Yeah. And you can pitch this by saying people that own real estate, net worth of this, people that don't have this net worth. Right. That could be the attention grabber when you're sending out the email, sending out the social media piece. Come in and we're going to talk about how to invest in real estate. Right. And then you can break down the levels from there. Home buyer,
First time,
Airbnb.
Exactly.
You could have 3 different categories.
Love it. Interesting. So I say buyer consultation. You say let's do a real estate investment strategy session, or I even like the seller seminar or the buyer seminar, which a lot of people have been talking about. Like when we were talking about during COVID, remember when everybody switched and we said let's just go do this instead because you can't meet people face to face. Everybody killed on it. They're back right now. Yeah. We've got like Jay D'Alessandra and Jen and his partner right in the DC. They're like, we do one of those a month. Yes. Right? Who was I just talking with right here inside the show? She said, Lydia Gable said, I do 2 a month, 2 seller seminars a month. But back on the question, skills. So you say no one wants a buyer consult, but everybody wants to get informed, make it sexy. Make it sexy. So what other skills do you think are the most important for people to dig into?
As an agent, really understanding what's going on. I love what Ivy Zellman said on one of your past podcasts where she said, if you walk into my house and you can't explain to me the 10-year, I'm throwing your ass out. So get educated on this stuff. Like, don't be a part-time agent. Yeah. Be a full-time professional. Yeah. Speak the language. Yeah. That's going to really help you in this market as it changes. You should know what the heck the administration's talking about. They're going to be campaigning off of all these housing promises over the next 6 months, right? When we get into midterms. Yep. Know what they're talking about. Know what your local officials are talking about. Know what the trends are in your MLS. Know what KCM's saying. Know about all this data so you can rattle it off.
Right.
And then when you have somebody who is interested in a buyer consult, use Tom Toole language.
Yes.
Why don't you come to the office and I'll enroll you as a client. I love when he says that. I'll enroll you. It's like, ooh, that sounds sexy, right? Going back to like the investment stuff.
Yeah. Carolyn Young is the first one that nailed that. Remember?
Did she?
Yeah, she was like, let's see if you qualify, we would love to enroll you as a client. And I don't know if it was the word enroll. Carolyn, you'll have to remind me, but it was just one of those like, well, I want to be a part of that. I want some of that.
I want that.
I want it. That makes me feel special. It's a VIP experience, right? Onboard you. We'd be willing to onboard
and I think
you
that
as a client.
Onboard, enroll. Make it sound like I want that.
Special. All right. So as we wrap this up, we should also give a little shout out to BAM Media.
Yes.
So
brokeagentmedia.com.
So tell our listeners what is BAM? What is it all about? Like, what should they expect if they go to the website or check out on all the social channels?
Go to the website, brokeagentmedia.com. No paywall. So this is a source for real estate news, edutainment. So you're entertaining, education, and humor without a paywall. Right? So you can get a lot of information 5 shows a week.
Right.
So podcast Monday through Friday. A lot of information that you do need to know from a marketing perspective and from a news and housing perspective. That you don't have to pay for. It's free content.
I'm kind of into that free content thing.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah. And here on Tom Ferry, you get the same.
Right. So you guys heard it here first. Make sure you follow Byron. Make sure you go to BAM, right? Brokeagentmedia.com.
Yes.
Right. And I'd love you just to think about, what could I do in the next 30 to 60 days to be the educator, to be the voice? We've talked about for years, making sure that you're studying the MLS and the hot sheets every single day. When someone says, how's the market? You can really speak intelligently about it. I think looking at the 10-year every day, paying attention to all the different financing options, what's going on in your local marketplace, what's going on in your national marketplace. This is the time. The knowledge broker always wins, because the knowledge broker has the confidence to go out and talk to people every single day because they know what to say, right? Same old game. So I know you didn't hear it here first, but what are you going to do differently in the next 30 days? That's really the key. We'll see you guys on the next show. Take care.